And then there is a question of public involvement in the housing sector, and there might be a correlation with the protection and participation level in housing policies, I guess. So this is maybe leaving some space for involving the private sector, which I feel very important as well, because you shouldn't leave without. Yeah? It's, okay. And maybe, my name is Michaela Kauer. I work for the city of Vienna. I've been based in Brussels now since 4.5 years, but I started my political career with a housing councillor, city councillor for housing. So I'm very much now coming back to the roots with all what's going on with housing policies in European level. And maybe there's just one or two thoughts I would like to add to the discussion, which I find very interesting. One is that when you look at it from, I'm speaking from a city perspective, and of course we are trying to get involved in the many city networks as well, like the Eurocities network. We've been discussing housing policies there a lot, and the European Städtebund, the Council of European Municipalities and Regions. So we're trying to get really involved in the European discussion from our perspective. So City of Vienna, I think responsible housing in Vienna, one of the best things you can do is have a big housing stock yourself. This is responsible housing. I mean, I'm just very proud of the housing stock. Of course, you will know that Vienna has a big tradition in that, and it's 60% of the population of the city of Vienna, which is 1.8 million, that lives in subsidized housing, in what form ever. 60% of our population, which is, I mean, this is a critical mass. Huh? It's subsidized. So it's of the 800,000 housing, say elements, could it be flats or houses, we have in Vienna, more than half are social or public. It's 220,000 rented public apartments. They are owned by the city. They are run by the city. They are renovated by the city. They are constructed by the city. And we have been doing this since 1918. So
can I ask, is this then also aimed at the 60%, let's say, poorest, if you can call 60% still poor?
It's no.
Or is it just open? Are there no propositions open to anybody who lives in Vienna?
I can explain that. Yeah. So this is public housing. It's like a quarter of the stock of the city. I mean of the overall private, public, everything. And then we have another 180,000, which is run by the companies, by the corporate companies. But normally you will be applicable to communal public housing with a lower income. Then you will have a next step, which would be normally the associated housing stock, and it's like a step system. Yeah, and it's, yeah. But the income levels are quite high, in fact, because we feel that it's important to have a broad mixity, social mixity in both our public houses as well as in the socially funded houses. Yeah? So even if you start your life as a young person and you don't have a lot of money and you go to the municipality and you get an apartment after some waiting time, and you fulfill some other criteria as well, of course, and then your life goes on and you get better, you're not forced to leave, of course, the apartment, because we want to have the balance kept in our housing stocks, and that accounts for all places. So it's even, and of the 60% people living in subsidized housing, also part of them you would find in the private sector, because when we give grants to private house owners to do some renovation for the buildings where people live in. And Vienna, of course, is a city of rent, not of buying an apartment, of renting an apartment. So this is the tradition we have in Vienna. You will have to fulfill some social criteria as well as a private owner of a house when you get public grants for renovating your house. So that could be like you have to give us the city, one or two of the flats, so we can use them for our own needs of the poorer populations that would also apply for communal housing. Yeah. So this is a little bit a system, and this, of course, what I said in the beginning, responsible housing is when you have a big stock. This has, of course, a regulatory effect on the overall housing market.